Hey, what's up guys? Today, I'll show you a drama film, The Surrogate of Wum. Spoiler ahead, watch out and take care. The movie is set during the Joseon dynasty, and the Shin family are expecting Master Ju and his wife to bear the next heir of the family. It turns out the couple have been trying to conceive for 12 years. The wife especially wants to give birth to a male child as a way of honoring their ancestors, so their surname will continue. The wife resorts to bizarre practices just to stimulate her body to form a child after she mates with Ju. She attends birth rituals, strictly fornicates with her husband during her fertile days, enforces a diet that includes exotic meals, and prays for thousands of days to bless them with a male child. However, none of these practices work despite doing her best efforts. One night, the Shins conduct a birth ritual for Ju's wife. After the ritual, the wife quietly eavesdrops on Ju's uncle and grandma, talking about her. The uncle worries about Ju's wife being 2 years away from turning 30, and she still doesn't carry the next boy to succeed their family name. The next morning, the uncle visits grandma to suggest hiring a surrogate for the infertile couple. Grandma immediately refuses upon hearing the suggestion because taking a surrogate contradicts their philosophy in life as Confucians. Grandma contemplates how she'll continue the succession of her family. They'll honor their ancestors and respect their philosophy at the same time. Because if they hire a surrogate to conceive an heir for their family, it's considered an embarrassment in their philosophy. But she doesn't hire a surrogate, and there's no one to inherit their name. It'll be a huge disrespect to their ancestors. Ultimately, the wife permits them to get a surrogate for the sake of the Shin bloodline. On the same day, the uncle travels away to a village called Jade Gate Valley with an acquainted scholar named Mr. Pimp to guide him in choosing a surrogate. Mr. Pimp explains that surrogate women don't have surnames, and their female child becomes surrogates too when their time comes. While the two reach the village, a loud young girl comes running to chase after a fleeing cattle. Mr. Pimp tries to help her capture the cattle, but he fails, causing the young girl to insult him for being useless. Soon, the two arrive at the heart of the village to meet the village's moderator and discuss the process. The moderator informs the uncle the price of hiring a surrogate. They need to pay 5 patches of land if it's a boy, and 2 patches of land if it's a girl. Meanwhile, the young girl returns to their house, still shouting after successfully catching the cattle. The young girl's mother screams at her for being ungrateful and clumsy for almost losing the cattle. During the discussion, the uncle chooses between 3 surrogate women offered by the moderator, but none of them caught his attention, unlike the loud young girl earlier. The uncle asks to hire the young girl, and everyone in the room is surprised because the young girl is only 17, but the uncle doubles the payment just to get her. The moderator sends a servant to inform the girl's mother about the offer to buy her young daughter, Cutie. However, the mother refuses to give Cutie regardless of how big they pay, simply because she doesn't want Cutie to experience the painful reality. Just then, Cutie interjects into the conversation and said she can do it so they can be rich. The servant supports Cutie since she believes Cutie is strong enough to handle everything. The mother eventually accepts just for the sake of money, but she's still reluctant whether it's a good idea. Afterward, Cutie gets a tattoo on her shoulder blades as a symbol for being a surrogate. The mother admits being upset about her daughter's decision to be a surrogate because it's difficult and involves harsh reality. Regardless, they need money to live, and so she instructs her daughter to eat fatty foods and be healthy and have an easy labor. The mother and daughter then embrace each other before they part, and she warns her daughter to remain professional and not fall in love because they only need her body. At night, the uncle and Mr. Pimp return to the Shin family estate with Cutie riding on a palanquin while blindfolded in order to prevent her from knowing their location. Upon their arrival, the housekeeper and a maid bring Cutie to a room located in the backyard of the estate. Then they wash her in boiling water and give her fresh new clothes. Afterward, Grandma and the wife visit Cutie in the back room to examine her hormones, and the housekeeper directs Cutie to bow to the 2 madams in front of them. Next, Grandma interviews Cutie about when her menstruation began, and Cutie answers she first had it when she was still 14. Afterward, Grandma gives pointers to Cutie about the whole contract. Cutie can only have intercourse with Ju within 28 hours of her first day of period, because it's the best time to get pregnant. Then, they must be careful and examine her discharge color to give them signs of what's happening in her body. Cutie unexpectedly blurts out, admitting that she's hungry after the long ride to their estate. Grandma can't help but smile because of how strong and honest she is. Soon, the housekeeper delivers a complete set of meals to Cutie, who quickly eats everything due to starvation. The next day, the wife meets her husband to update him about the surrogate's arrival last night. She approves of hiring a surrogate for the sake of their family name, even though it pains her. She perceives that being infertile is a sin, but Ju assures her that they still have time to reproduce their own baby. Meanwhile, Cutie suffers from diarrhea because it's her first time eating fatty foods after eating so much inferior food before. Moreover, she is stuck in the room for days, where she endures hot summer days and resorts to imagination and exercise as her form of entertainment. During a full moon night, the wife and the housekeeper visit Cutie to teach a breathing technique. The wife instructs the girl to inhale the moon's spirit deeply in order to bless her with a baby boy. She's required to hold her breath for a long period of time to absorb the moon's energy. However, she shortly collapses due to a lack of oxygen. Afterward, they make her drink a medicine made out of a stone Buddhist image's nose, which is cordial for men and strengthens the women's hormones. Soon, it's almost Cutie's time of the month, and the wife examines Cutie's pale red discharge. Meanwhile, the uncle instructs Ju to have sex with Cutie at 5 a.m. on the 5th day of the month. Ju is obviously against the whole ordeal because it defies his philosophical belief, but the uncle reminds him that it's his duty to bear the next heir of their family. On the night of the 5th, Ju remains in his room, so he doesn't have to meet Cutie, but Grandma enters his room to reason with him, explaining they need an heir to honor their ancestors once he dies one day. Unfortunately, Ju is forced to obey, so he goes to the girl's room while accompanied by his wife. The wife instructs them to rush their sex once the time strikes 5 a.m. While the wife helps Ju undress himself, Cutie quietly stares at them from the corner. Afterward, the wife stays outside of the room, telling them to get ready. Ju drinks alcohol to make himself drift when the moment comes, possibly wanting to get a drunk baby. Meanwhile, Grandma prays outside the lawn to bless them with a male heir. It's finally 5 a.m. and Ju and Cutie mate, according to the instructions given by the wife. The process lasts for a couple of minutes only. The shitty Ju exits from the room afterward, leaving Cutie stunned and unsatisfied on the floor. Cutie's blanket sheets have blood stains, which means her first hormone game is rough and forced. In the second month, the wife makes Ju drink a deer's blood to make him vigorous on the next smelly workout. Then, she explains to him that Cutie excreted yellowish tone discharge, and therefore, they need to have another sex on the 4th day of the month at 3 a.m. On the night of the 4th, Cutie and Ju play the hormone game for the second time, and this time is different. Their fornication is eager and authentic, unlike the first time. While they engage in a passionate interaction, the wife cries outside of the room, completely hurt by their evident pleasure. One day, the housekeeper reports to the wife and Grandma that Ju is having an affair with Cutie for a month already. Ju would sneak into her bedroom for an erotic activity. The housekeeper tried to stop him, but he still insisted on meeting Cutie. Due to this unexpected affair, they lash and whip Cutie as punishment. Meanwhile, the uncle is ashamed of Ju's poor self-control over his hormone urges. He then reprimands Ju to control himself and respect his wife. Apparently, Cutie has fallen in love with Ju, and Ju reciprocates her affection for him. Unfortunately, Cutie is still a girl, exploring her identity and sexuality, but she lets her emotion be impulsive in anything, forgetting that she's only a servant and not noble like Ju. On the wife's birthday, she receives a good omen in her dreams that they're going to have a baby boy. Meanwhile, the maid delivers a basket of pastries to Cutie as the wife's gift for being her surrogate. The maid articulates to Cutie to be grateful for the wife's kindness, who still thinks of her despite what she has done to her husband. During the wife's birthday celebration, Cutie sneaks out of her bedroom to meet Ju. Ju can't control his urges and immediately brings Cutie to a secluded area in between the bushes for a hormone hide and seek. On a fine autumn day, the family gather around a bedroom to wait for a special announcement. Cutie is finally pregnant, but the family can't let anyone be suspicious of the wife's child when they never saw her grow a baby bump. Therefore, every time Cutie displays symptoms of pregnancy, the wife imitates her outside of the estate to prevent people from spreading a rumor about her being infertile. At night, the Shin family summons Cutie's mother to the estate to help with managing her daughter's pregnancy. Soon, Cutie and her mother happily reunite, and Cutie excitedly shares with her mother the gifts she received from the couple. She immediately notices that Cutie likes Ju, which is what she dreads happening. She then tries to make her realize the disparity between their social statuses, but Cutie doesn't listen. Besides, Ju is currently at a temple for a tour, which means less time for Cutie to see him. Afterward, the mother makes Cutie drink a red pepper soup and ties a trinket around her waist to bless her with a baby boy. Then, the wife visits Cutie to guide her through prenatal care, ordering her to write on a paper to condition the baby inside of her as early as they can, because education is vital to the nobles. It's now winter, and the wife shares with her friends a fake story about feeling the baby kicking her last night. Her friends excitedly guess it must be a boy if the baby kicks hard. Meanwhile, Cutie is 6 months pregnant, and she's still studying to write for the baby. The mother then enters the room and feeds her 6 boiled eggs for the baby's nourishment. Just then, Ju returns from the temple and visits Cutie in her room. Cutie's mother is alarmed by his presence and asks him to leave immediately because they're prohibited from speaking with him. But Ju insists on spending time with Cutie. The mother transfers to the adjacent room and hides Ju's shoes to keep themselves out of trouble. While the two engage in another hormone game, the mother begs them to stop, but the two still continue their smelly workout despite the restrictions set for them. Unfortunately, they're still caught, and Cutie's mother is punished instead to take Cutie's place, because Cutie is pregnant. The mother goes home in pain, and Cutie immediately apologizes for not listening. On that night, the mother endures the pain and shares with Cutie that it's not the first time she got punished. Long ago, the mother gave birth to a son and was paid handsomely, but she was asked not to return anymore. Sadly, she broke the agreement and secretly met her son, causing the son's family to punish her harshly. Afterward, she transferred to the valley and got hired again, but gave birth to a girl this time, which grew up to be Cutie. The mother's past experience turned her to become defensive, which is why she badly wants Cutie not to enter surrogacy, because it's not easy. Meanwhile, the wife puts up a fake baby bump, using a wrapped blanket as part of her act in front of the people. 3 months later, another birthright is conducted outside the Shin estate for the wife's false pregnancy. The birthright includes a stage play, foreshadowing that the birth may result in a male baby. During the play, Grandma permits Cutie to watch the play while under supervision. Suddenly, Cutie feels stomach contraction amid the show, meaning she's about to labor. They bring Cutie back to the room, making her drink a paste to alleviate the pain, while tugging the rope to support her laboring. While Cutie endures the pain, her mother and the housekeeper pray to give them a boy. They even force her to stand on a hot pot lid for easy labor. However, Cutie is having a hard time laboring, so Grandma and the wife permit Ju to visit Cutie and allow her to hold onto his waistband as support. Ju's mere presence relieves Cutie eventually, as he cradles her in his arms to provide strength. After hours of laboring, Cutie finally gives birth to a baby boy, but subsequently collapses due to fatigue. The following day, the uncle announces to Grandma that Cutie gave birth to a boy, thus confirming their next heir. After the mother washes the baby in clean water, Cutie holds her son with relief. However, she never gets to hold him longer because the wife arrives to claim the baby as her own. The movie ends at nighttime, and the Shin family orders Cutie and her mother to depart immediately, along with their land registration of the 10 Patty lands. However, Cutie emotionally breaks down and doesn't want to leave without seeing her son for the last time. The mother is hurt to see Cutie suffer from the harsh reality that they can never align in any way with the nobles, because their existence as surrogates are mainly used only for their body and nothing else. Cutie joins her mother on their way to the palanquin. Meanwhile, Ju and his uncle watch the mother and daughter depart from the estate forever. Afterward, Cutie and her mother shortly arrive on the new land they own after the long trip. Unfortunately, Cutie kills herself a year later in the same village where her son lives. Soon news circulates about Cutie that she committed suicide because her parents preferred a son to a daughter. This Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.